The Baggies Podcast, giving you the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. Hello and welcome back to the Baggies Podcast, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. Today, it's time for a match reaction episode of the Baggies Podcast, episode 53. We'll be going over last night's 4-0 victory against Sheffield United. What a win it was for the Albion. We'll be getting all the reaction from the game, including a bit of opposition reaction from the Sheffield United Way YouTube channel. And of course, we'll be getting the reaction from you guys, the fans of West Bromwich Albion. But before we get into this episode of the Baggies Podcast, I must remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Spotify platforms, our Apple Podcast platforms. It really does help us out. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, you're able to see my face, you'll see me waving like this, but we're going for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. But if you're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, you can help out by dropping us a little review if you're enjoying the episode. Obviously, just drop however many stars you think we deserve. Drop us a little message as well if you fancy. But yeah, subscribe to us, because if you're on YouTube, you can watch our new matchday vlog, which is out now, which is all about the Sheffield United game. Basically, take my camera around the ground, it'll film all the atmosphere, film the nice chants that we've been doing, and also film some of the celebrations after the goal. So if you want to see that sort of content, head over to YouTube at the Baggies Podcast and check that out. But yeah, let's get straight into this match reaction episode for Sheffield United 0, West Bromwich Albion 4. Oh, it was a Wednesday night delight under the Hawthorns floodlights for West Bromwich Albion, a 4-0 victory against Sheffield United. What a fantastic win for the Baggies. I mean, just fantastic. On the ball, off the ball. It was just a really big statement as well, the victory, the margin of it, 4-0. I mean, it's just a big victory, and I think it sends a bit of a shockwave to the rest of the league to say, look, here's Sheffield United. I know they haven't quite clicked yet, but they are, on paper, one of the better teams in the league. So, you know, you think you're looking at that for the rest of the league and say, yeah, you know, wow, West Brom are a team to beat this season. West Brom are a scary team to play up against. They can do this to Sheffield United, who are a team that even, I suppose the problems are scoring goals at the moment, but the defence, even we rampaged through what is a very experienced, very useful back line. They've got players such as John Egan, who's been there for quite a while, George Baldock as well, got a good centre-half as well, and Chris Basham as well, and they've got a fantastic midfield, but we rampaged through them several times, scoring quite a few goals. But, you know, it was just a fantastic performance from the Albion. I'll go through the lineup as I normally do. Obviously, we'll hear a bit of opposition reaction later from Hal from the Sheffield United Way YouTube channel. So, yeah, we'll hear a bit of that later on and hear his thoughts on Sheffield United, because I think it's probably a hard-hitting victory, a hard-hitting loss for them. In terms of our victory, obviously, we're particularly happy, but we've got to look at the other side, as in Sheffield United. They're in a little bit of trouble at the moment, relegation zone as well. And then we'll also get your thoughts, of course, later on in the episode. But let's go to the lineup. So it was an unchanged lineup from the side that started out against Luton Town. Obviously, the 3-4-3 formation still remaining fairly prominent as it has been throughout the season so far. So what I thought really was the lineup. You know, I thought unchanged. I thought that's a bit odd. Yeah, maybe. I thought that, you know, the unchanged lineup, playing a high press system, they are going to burn out at some point. I'm just hoping that it's not going to be quite too soon, to be honest. Because, you know, it's a little bit worrying when you've got this high press system. You saw with Bielsa, you saw with the guys at Leeds, where they ended up burning out in that season, which I think is, you know, not the best thing that happened to Leeds, where they, you know, fell short of promotion because they almost tired out. They ran out of steam. So I think, yeah, it's pretty difficult. But yeah, I'm just thinking about how this high press is going to be implemented throughout the season. I think it's going to be difficult to upkeep. I think it's going to be difficult to hold together throughout the whole of the season. I definitely think that. However, I do think that Albion, we worked pretty hard. I thought that we looked the better side. We beat them almost to every single ball, which I really liked. I thought it was just sensational the way that we sort of rampaged through this Sheffield United back line and the midfield as well. I just think the Sheffield United midfield line is just so quality. I think there's so much ability in there. But in terms of our lineup, we went for an unchanged lineup. Sam Johnson in goal, and I've got a few words for Sam Johnson because I was really impressed with his performance. I was absolutely astounded by the way he's coming off his line. Obviously, the confidence is flowing in the guy at the moment because he's been selected for for the England squad. Obviously, almost being their second choice, really after through those a couple of the friendly game that he played. I just think it's absolutely incredible the way that Sam Johnstone is really progressing as a goalkeeper. Last season, or the season before even, I was saying, he struggles coming off his line, he struggles to come and command his area, but he is doing that. He is doing just that, and it is phenomenal, I think, that he's able to cause those problems by coming out of his area. Obviously, playing quite a high line, you need a bit of a sweeper keeper behind them. So that starting position from Sam Johnstone is really critical, and he got it spot on today. Obviously, Luton Town, his high sweeping position caused an injury, but yeah, that hasn't taken anything out of him, and I'm glad that hasn't, because it's kept his confidence. And I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased for Sam Johnstone, who's really starting to get back into some very good form after a really good season last season. And his concentration is fantastic. I think the concentration is fantastic because I think to play in a side that I know that we did concede maybe one clear-cut chance, perhaps two, but Sam Johnstone is one of those players where you worry maybe he's going to switch off throughout the game, but he didn't today, and I was really pleased with the way that he came off his line. He was very quick to react to every situation. It's obviously something that Valérien Ismaël has worked on with him. But in terms of the back three, I thought the back three was particularly solid. I thought that we were just it was really solid at the back. I think we conceded one clear-cut chance, which was right after the first goal to David McGoldrick, who, for me, missed a sitter. However, I thought that we did work really hard to get moving and to get things going in the back line. I thought Matt Clark, I think he's fantastic. Obviously we saw him against Luton, and I thought he was really good then. But I do think that Matt Clark was absolutely fantastic today. I thought he worked hard. Thought he put in the effort that he needed to, and he's just very physical, isn't he? He just likes to get his hands dirty. Likes to really, really pummel people and win the ball off them. I think it's very good to see from now being centre back. Obviously, you got Bartley, who does only that, but not only that, on the ball, composed. There are times where the ball's looping over the top, and he judges the flight of the ball so well that he can just bring it down on his chest and play a ball forward afterwards. Matt Clark, for me, was outstanding tonight. I was so pleased with the way he played. I thought, in terms of on the ball, he was very composed, very, very, very controlled on the ball, always looking forward for the pass as well. But also, when the strikers had the ball, with people like David McGoldrick, who I consider to be a very good striker, he's peeling off onto Clark, and Clark was just bullying him all over the shop, pushing him, shoving him away from the ball. It was really, really incredible, because David McGoldrick's not a little guy by any stretch of the imagination, but Matt Clark, so physical, so able to make these players feel powerless, and I was just so pleased with his performance. And he must be buzzing with how his West Brom's life has started, because obviously against Luton, Matt Clark came off and it sort of went to pieces, as we spoke about in last week's podcast. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to do that, because obviously me and Callum talked through the entire Luton game, and we basically came to the conclusion that Matt Clark, the reason why we went to pieces is because he ended up going off. He's available for £5 million at the end of the season, by the looks of things, because he was available for £5 million before, and we couldn't quite stump up the money. But potentially, at the end of the season, if he's still there for £5 million, I think that is an absolute bargain. He's got the build of a classic English centre half. However, he's got that ability to play the ball, and he could be from any country. He could be having the ball playing ability of any player. But I think he's fantastic, Matt Clark, and I think he's done an absolutely solid job today, working hard and really being physical and allowing the ball to go through. But I thought the back three was incredible today. Kyle Bartley was pretty decent in the middle there. I think he dealt with Billy Sharp well, who's obviously a bit of a buzzing bee around the feet of the defenders, and it's quite difficult to hold them off hold a player like that off in that respect. But I thought that we worked really well. I thought that the back three worked very well. Obviously, Dara O'Shea grabbed a goal as well, which was really nice to see, and I was really pleased to see him get another goal. I wrote a piece about Dara O'Shea for the WBA latest website, so if you fancy checking that out, be sure to go and check it out, because I thought that was a pretty decent. I thought that was a pretty decent article, a bit about Dara O'Shea and how I'm expecting him to really break into the first team this season, and I was pretty pleased with what came out, and obviously did a nice graphic to go along with it. So I'll leave a link for that in the description. Maybe go and check that out and go and have a read of that. I thought it was an alright piece, really. In terms of our wing backs, Townsend I thought did some good things, but I think the star of the show was Darnell Furlong in terms of wing backs. I think he was incredible tonight. Throwing the ball in, throwing long throws in. It was just fantastic in that respect. Causing problems. I think two of our goals came, maybe three of our goals perhaps, came from a long throw or came from the result of a set piece. So Darnell Furlong is particularly important to what we're trying to do with the long throws and set pieces. Obviously, without Darnell Furlong, do you get the leverage on the ball? I suppose Townsend does it on the other side, but maybe there's a scope for Darnell Furlong to do it on both sides. I'm just saying, I can't see why he can't. Why he can't be playing? Why he can't take throw-ins on both sides at all? I think it would work perfectly, but it's just so dangerous. If ball goes in, obviously the keeper was a bit dodgy for Sheffield Verips. It was pretty awful. I thought he looked okay at times, but his handling was a bit, and then obviously his judgment for a couple of the corners I thought were pretty awful as well. But for me, Furlong, his throws just caused absolute mayhem in the box, and I just loved it. Yeah, people are making comparisons to Pulis on Twitter. I've seen that quite a few times. And the only comparison I can make to Pulis football is that we're really good at set pieces. We know exactly where we are. Valerian Ismail lauded praise on the assistant manager, whose name escapes me. So, yeah, it's just about the set pieces and how we're really starting to impact them and starting to make it a real threat for the opposition. Because, of course, the opposition are going to be sceptical when he brings all three centre-halves up. If you remember under Allardyce, you'd only bring two centre-halves up. So you'd bring, if you're playing a back three, you'd probably leave O'Shea at home and bring Ajayi and Bartley up. However, with this system, you bring all three of them up. You leave one full-back and one midfielder behind. It's a really nice way to look at it. And Callum Robinson's really benefiting from this because nobody's really marking him at the back post because they're all focused on these massive guys coming into the box. You've got Bartley, you've got Clark, you've got O'Shea, and they're coming into the box and the opposition are just like, what do we do now? We've got these massive guys coming into the box and we don't know what to do. So they sort of like ignore Robinson because they think, oh, well, you're not really going to win the header, so we'll leave you out. And then it's pretty awesome how they managed to do that for me. I think it looks cool. I'm really pleased with the set pieces and especially the long throws. Darnell Furlong can be the champion of those long throws. For me, I think he looked fantastic. But yeah, Darnell Furlong deserves a special mention. Probably my man of the match. If I had to, actually, I'm going to say Matt Clark's probably my man of the match. But Darnell Furlong's not a close second. Is a close second, definitely for me. I thought he looked very good from the long throws, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. He's getting them some distance in terms of the midfield. Mowat, sorry, as I've heard it said over the tunnel, so it's Mowat. Was sublime. I thought he could run all day. That guy. I don't want to see him run all day because I don't want him to get tired. But he looked really good, really sharp. Obviously, he's grabbed his first Baggies goal, bursting forward, just casually winning the ball forward, winning the ball, knocking it forward, then just carry on his run, getting in behind the defence, and a nice slotted keeper finish past the keeper. I just thought it was really good from Alex Mowat, and I was very pleased to see his development in terms of pushing forward throughout the game. He started the game quite deep inside the Albion half because obviously we had three midfielders to deal with, so it was pretty difficult. However, I thought it looked really nice. I thought Mowat, he started to get more forwards as the game went on, started to progress more, started to push those Sheffield United midfielders back, because as I mentioned, there's a lot of quality in that Sheffield United midfield. There's definitely a lot of ability in there with Sander Berger, Oliver Norwood. John Fleck is a guy who I really rate. I think he's a very good footballer, and I'm surprised nobody's really snapped him up, but we got round them, we got really in their faces, and they didn't like it. And then they pushed, and then obviously it was pushed back with pushed back with Moa getting forwards in the latter stages of the game. In terms of the front three, we haven't talked about Livermore, who I thought had a decent game, put his foot about in well, really got riled up after that first goal, or maybe even the second goal, when he was just flying into tackles, and he was loving it. Obviously, we know that he likes that sort of thing, Jake Livermore, but very pleased to see him getting back into action and really starting to breed a bit of confidence among the Albion players. They had a very rough ride last season, and we wouldn't want to see them replicate that again. However, the front three, I've still got my question marks about the front three. I'm not sure about Dean Garner. Obviously, you've got Grant, who's a striker, inside forward sort of player, and I'm just a bit worried that Dean Garner doesn't perhaps suit the system, because you've got three players up there. I mean, Dean Garner, they're quite narrow, so I'm just thinking about Dean Garner, because he's not getting wide, he's not hugging the touchline particularly very much, whether that's what he's been instructed to do or what he prefers to do. I'm just thinking about that, because the ability of the Albion side to cut open a defences, I feel like Dean Garner's a little bit missing in the side, not in a way that he's played badly at all, but the touches he's had were good, and the touches that he had weren't bad at all. But he's not having enough of them, I don't think, Grady Dean Garner. It does worry me a little bit about the amount of time he's having on the ball. Robinson was phenomenal through the middle again, getting his goal. Didn't really have too much in terms of link-up play, but definitely I'm not bothered about the link-up play. Just need somebody to score the goals. And so far, Robinson 3 and 3 is the top scorer in the Championship. I will certainly take that. And Carlan Grant getting an assist as well from some good jinking runs on the wing as well. So I was pretty pleased with that sort of element of the performance. I just think, that I do fear for, we've made a real statement there, and I do fear a little bit for the teams that are going to be playing us, because I think, you look at this Albion side and you think, wow, it's going to take a brave team to beat us at some point this season, or really try to get in behind. It's going to take a brave team who are going to be willing to play right on the halfway line because of our high line, play with pace and play with power, because you've got wing backs who you've got to track back, and I don't think that many teams will be brave enough to try and beat us in that respect. I think it's going to take a real team to beat us this season, and a very brave one too. So, yeah, the result is a real statement to the league. I think we really do mean business after that 4-0 victory. Sheffield United, a little word on them before we go and hear some opposition reaction. I was just a bit worried about them, because they've got so many good players. Obviously, their striking partnership is fantastic, and obviously it works really well together. Well, I say their striking partnership, their striking options are fantastic. They've got lots of very good players who could come in and do a job at Championship level. McGoldrick scored loads of goals for Sheffield United before. Obviously, 29 goals for Sheffield United, 41 for Ipswich Town. Just scoring goals over and over and over in the Championship. Billy Sharp has scored hundreds of goals in the Championship, quite literally hundreds of goals. You've got players on the bench who came on, such as Ollie McBurney, who've scored 20 goals in the Championship before. You've got another player such as Ollie Burke, who, although he used to play for West Brom, I feel he's still got something to do in the Championship. And that's the same with a player such as Ryan Brewster, who I think grabbed a few goals on loan at Swansea, 11 goals in 22 games. I thought he played quite well in the Championship. So it's all about Slavisa Jokanovic picking his best team, and I'm not convinced that he knows exactly what that best team looks like at the moment. And it's a worrying sign for a Sheffield United fan. You've got a great midfield, you've got a great defence. The goalkeeper, yes, he's a bit dodgy, but hopefully you can bring in somebody a little bit better with the money for Ramsdale. However, he's just not clicking for them, and they may well find themselves in a little bit of trouble if they don't book up their ideas. But yeah, let's go and hear a bit from the Sheffield United corner of things. We'll go over to the Sheffield United Way YouTube channel and hear Hal's thoughts as he sends in a couple of minutes worth of clips for us to listen along to. If you want to go and check out the Sheffield United Way YouTube channel, Twitter page, whatever they've got going on there, if you want to go and check out their social medias, go and check those out in the link in the description of the episode. So make sure you go and check them out, because obviously they've done us a really big favour with sending in a video for today's game. So yeah, let's go and hear the thoughts of Hal from the Sheffield United Way show.
Hi there, Hal here from the Sheffield United Way. Wow. I mean, I was not expecting that. My thoughts going into an away game at the Hawthorns was that my red and white Wizards could actually pull off a result. We've got a pretty good record. When I've attended games at the Hawthorns, I've seen a 1-0 win. I've seen I think it was 2-1. I've seen good results, is the point. And this was not one of them. Shocked, absolutely shocked. I was shocked with the lineup. Again, we just keep chopping and changing. We go through 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 3 at the back. Different strikers. Thought Ollie Burke might play because he'd be well up for it against his old side, but he's been absolutely dreadful. You definitely got the better end of that deal. Callum Robinson, good player and someone we wanted to keep hold of. My overall thoughts on the game are that West Bromwich Albion could have been out of sight earlier than they were and possibly should have scored more. And Sheffield United were dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I was really, really disappointed, and now I'm a bit worried. Our standout players, no one. I mean, you'd be really scraping the barrel. John Egan, maybe, but how can he be? Conceded 4 in a defence, so no. West Brom standout players, I mean, I don't tend to watch the opposition too much, but obviously Connor Townsend looked quite good. Furlong with his long throws. Townsend has long throws as well. I thought obviously Callum Robinson was good. Mowat, just everyone. they're just really good. I think Sam Johnson as well. The way he sweeper keeps, he's just fantastic. Reads the game so well. I think for what we need to improve on, it's just a little thing. Everything. We're going to be in real trouble. And West Bromwich Albion look ready-made for a bounce back. Boing, boing. I'm amazed at this because last time we played West Brom in the Premier League, both games actually, we were much better than West Brom. I know we lost 1-0 with that Conor Gallagher goal, but Sheffield United battered West Brom at the Hawthorns in the Premier League that night and just lost because we can't score. And then we battered West Brom at Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. And we're just a few months on from that. And our squad hasn't changed. And we look terrible. So I can't get my head around it. And West Brom just seem to have adapted. Despite off-field nonsense at West Brom, they seem to have adapted to the Championship far quicker and far better than we have. It's baffling. It's head-scratching. I'm almost lost for words, which is quite rare for me. But I don't really like West Brom, so hope I'm wrong. Hope you don't go up.
Those were the thoughts of the Sheffield United Way show and Hal from their show as well. So thank you very much for sending in that video, guys. And check out the link in the description of the podcast just to go and check out more of their content if that's the sort of thing you want to see. But yeah, over to sort of a bit of a fan reaction. Obviously, getting the vibe from the supporters was that everybody was really pleased with the way that we played. And of course, I was as well. I was absolutely buzzing and over the moon with what we did in the game. I thought, just fantastic performance, a real statement to the rest of the league. It reminded me a lot of that 4-1 win we had at Leeds. I thought it just looked phenomenal in that sort of respect, beating a team with little or no chances, with not many chances really. That's the only thing. I really think that we didn't have. I think 4-0 scoreline is a little bit of a disrespect to Sheffield United. I did think they were particularly poor. However, I don't think it was a 4-0 sort of scoreline. I think it was a bit of an injustice for Sheffield United. But yeah, I was really pleased with the performance from the Albion. I thought that we worked really hard. We were first to almost every ball, and obviously that was the best thing to say. That was the best thing to see for us. Let's hear a bit of fan reaction then, because a few of you guys have been getting involved on Twitter. Let's head over to the guys who've been commenting on our post. Let's go to the guys from Absolute Baggies, who says, "What a transformation. Big Val's giving once 110% of the lads are giving it." Yes, there's from Absolute Baggies. Jim Haight says, "Thought first half was poor quality, reminiscent of Wimbledon's crazy gang of the 80s. Second half was 100% a better performance, intensity with quality. Still need a first choice centre back, centre mid, and striker." I'd say in terms of what Jim said there, I think that I don't think we need another centre back. I think we need another midfielder, and I do think we need another striker if we can get one. I think that's definitely the case. But I think centre back, I think we're quite covered in that position. I think we've got too many good options. I think really you think Kipre Ajayi a second choice at the moment. That says a lot about the quality of your defence. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we spring up against Blackburn. Obviously, there'll be a match preview on our YouTube channel a couple of days before the game. So a day before the game. Make sure you check that out. Of course, that'll be there, ready and waiting for you guys when you want to watch it. But yeah, that's all. That's what I sort of think about the game. In terms of Blackburn, it's going to be a difficult game. They're another good Championship side. But I think we can beat many teams in this division. I think we could give anybody a real go. And of course, I'm sure Valérien Ismaël will not let anybody not give it a go. Of course, as we saw with Kenneth Sahor, who was absent for today's game. Yeah, I think that we've seen the last of Kenneth Sahor in an Albion shirt. I think that's it for him. Obviously, he was appalling last week at Luton Town. If you watched last week's podcast, you'll know about how bad me and Callum thought that he was. But yeah, it was worrying from Kenneth Sahor to come on and be lazy like that. But obviously, that might be the last we see of him, and I'm sure Valérien Ismaël will not take any prisoners when they're not giving 100%. I'm sure that's all he asks, really, from the team, to just give their 100%, and that's all he can really ask. But yeah, really pleased with the performance today. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. That does bring us to the end. Make sure you're subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube in particular, because as I said, we're heading for 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Watch our Match Day vlog over on YouTube if you want to see me inside the ground, giving you my thoughts and analysis as they happen. But that does bring me to the end of the Baggies Podcast, where, of course, we'll be giving you the latest news, views, and opinions on all things Albion. That's episode 53 done, and I'll see you post-match after the Blackburn game. Goodbye.